Where is your confidence leaking? The slow, nearly invisible drip that turns resolve into hesitation, posture into apology, and a clear yes into a rehearsed maybe. Take a moment and notice your body as you hear this question. The shoulders that rise without asking your permission, the breath that forgets it has space, the stomach that tightens like a fist in the dark. You are not broken for feeling this. You are human, exquisitely wired for survival, often reading the present through the memory of old storms, and it makes sense that parts of you still brace for rain even on a clear day. I see the way you double-check your words before they leave your mouth, the way your eyes search for a sign that it is safe to be seen, the way the room gets louder in your mind when you are about to step forward. I see the history that taught you to be careful, the moments that trained you to distrust your own voice, the quiet agreements you made with fear because it seemed wiser than risking another bruise. You are not weak for learning these strategies. You were wise to survive. And yet there is a deeper wisdom calling you now, the wisdom that does not shout, that does not humiliate, that does not drown you in demands, but invites you to remember who you are when you are not shrinking to fit. Solomon, the king who asked for understanding rather than applause, spoke of wisdom as something that steadies the heart and clarifies the path, a kind of inner compass that keeps you from trading your birthright for the noise of the crowd. This is practical wisdom, more furnace than firework, the quiet heat that tempers metal until it can carry weight without bending. Confidence in this frame is not a costume you wear for the world. It is a covenant you keep with yourself, a promise to act in alignment with what is true even when your hands still shake. Your nervous system is not the enemy of that covenant. It is the loyal guard at the gate, primed to alert you to danger, sometimes overworking because it loved you through a difficult season and never got the message that the season changed. Notice how it speaks, a rush in the chest when a choice appears, a dryness in the mouth when attention lands on you, a scatter of thoughts when uncertainty enters. Your body is speaking in an ancient language that says, I want you safe, and it will keep speaking until it knows you are listening. When you listen, you bring kindness to the guard. When you bring kindness, the guard becomes teachable. When the guard is teachable, courage has room to work. So breathe with me in a way that tells your body the storm has passed. Slow inhale through the nose as if you're smelling rain on warm earth. Slow exhale through the mouth as if you're fogging a mirror and writing your name on it. Again, longer on the exhale than on the inhale, because lengthening the outbreath tells the heart it can unclench, tells the shoulders they can release, tells the mind that the room is not a battlefield. This is not performance. This is renovation. This is the scaffolding that lets wisdom build you from the inside out. You have spent years collecting the voices of others, some generous and some sharp, and they echo at the worst times like a hallway you cannot exit. There is a moment, though, when the hallway opens into a courtyard. And in that courtyard you can hear the sound of your own footsteps again. Confidence is the practice of walking that courtyard daily, of hearing the rhythm of your steps and trusting that the ground will hold. You will feel the old hallway tug. You will feel the pull to ask permission for your existence. You will feel the reflex to shrink, to keep the peace. And then you will feel a steadier invitation. Stand as if your spine remembers the sky. Speak as if your words are worthy of air. Decide as if your life is yours to steward. Perhaps you have believed that confidence arrives like lightning, striking at random, leaving the lucky changed, and the rest waiting under metal skies. That is not the truth that sets you free. Confidence grows like a well-tended tree, roots first, often unseen, then trunk, able to carry, then branches offering shade, then fruit nourishing others. Roots are formed in quiet decisions no one claps for. Trunk is built through consistency when the mood disappears. Branches reach when fear argues for collapse. Fruit appears after seasons, not minutes. If you have been judging your tree by yesterday's weather, give it the mercy of time and the discipline of care. There are sentences that wound, and there are sentences that heal, and you have heard both. You are not required to keep repeating the ones that bruise. There is a sentence that belongs to you now, a crafted line, simple and strong, that you can place at the gate of your mind like a seal on warm wax. When your doubt arrives, the seal is there. When comparison knocks, the seal is there. When you face a door you have postponed opening, the seal is there. Not as a magic spell, not as a denial of reality, but as a reminder of what remains true when the feelings churn. You are capable of learning. You are worthy of growth. You are allowed to practice in public. You are allowed to stand upright in your own life. Listen closely, because this matters. The voice that shames you into action will not stay to help you rebuild. The voice that honors your humanity while calling you higher will not leave you when the applause ends. Choose the second voice. Choose it in the way you speak to yourself when you make a mistake. Choose it in the way you take up space when you enter a room. Choose it in the way you hold your boundaries like doors that open and close with purpose, not like walls that keep love out. This is not softness for its own sake. This is strength that refuses to become brittle. As we move forward, keep your attention anchored to what you feel in your body, because the body reveals the truth before the mind narrates it. Notice the breath when your name is called. Notice the jaw when a decision appears. Notice the hands when you are about to be seen. These are not random signals. They are invitations to align physiology with purpose, to let wisdom and neuroscience share the same table, to become someone who does not wait for permission to trust themselves. Let the old stories rise and pass like weather. Let the new covenant sit steady in your chest like a quiet flame. The room you have been avoiding is ready. The voice you have been borrowing can rest. The person you are becoming is already knocking, and you, finally, are the one who can open the door. Some doubts do not begin in the present moment. They arrive wearing the voices of people you once needed, people you longed to please, people who were themselves carrying heavy weather. A teacher who confused criticism with guidance, a parent who was afraid and called it realism, a friend who joked at your expense because the room rewarded it. Those echoes learned your name and followed you into adulthood, and now they whisper right when you are closest to stepping through a door you have earned. There is nothing wrong with you for having learned the art of flinching. You adapted. You survived. And yet the adaptation is old, and the season has changed, and a wiser self is asking for a new script. Picture your inner life as a walled city at dawn. The streets are still. The lamps are low, and there is a gate where messages arrive. Some messages carry nourishment and clarity. Some carry poison dressed as humor. Some carry fear dressed as wisdom. The guard at that gate is your attention, your language, your permission to let words take root. Above all, guard your heart, not with hardness, but with discernment, because everything you allow inside becomes the raw material of your future. This is not about building a fortress. It is about choosing what is worthy of residency. Confidence is not a mood that appears when the sun does. Confidence is a covenant you keep with your future self, a kept promise to speak to yourself with the same dignity you would offer a person you love, a kept promise to treat your mind like fertile ground, not a landfill for insults, a kept promise to curate your inputs so that courage can grow without being trampled. When you keep that covenant in small ways, your nervous system learns a new pattern and your body begins to unclench. Fear may still knock, but it no longer holds the keys. Words are not decorations on experience. They are chisels. They sculpt attention. They shape chemistry. They tell the brain what to highlight and what to release. When a mind is saturated with self-insult, the body prepares for threat, and the day becomes a hallway of small alarms. When a mind is nourished with sober, strengthening language, respiration changes, posture lifts, and options become visible. This is not wishful thinking. It is the physics of inner life. What is repeated becomes remembered. What is remembered becomes perceived. What is perceived becomes possible. There is a simple practice known as a word fast. For one steady week, the habit of turning against yourself goes quiet, and in its place a single crafted sentence keeps you company. It is brief, it is honest, it is kind, and it is strong enough to carry you through ordinary moments. Morning arrives, and that sentence is the first voice you hear. The road stretches in front of you, and that sentence rides with you like a steady passenger. Night settles, and that sentence tucks the day in without accusation. No theatrics, no slogans, just a line that fits your life like a well-made garment. This is not a denial of struggle. It is consent to heal. It is practical spirituality meeting emotional neuroscience, a marriage between reverence and regulation. When old phrases try to reclaim ground, the gate stands attended. When comparison rattles the bars, the guard remembers the covenant and lets silence do the work. When a careless comment tries to set up a room in your head, the lease is declined. Little by little, your attention stops feeding the voices that do not feed you. Consider how deeply some sentences have carved their initials into you. You are too much. You are not enough. You will embarrass yourself if you try. Now imagine the nervous system hearing a different rhythm for a week. I am learning and growing. I keep my word to myself. I carry wisdom with humility. These are not performances. They are permissions. With repetition, the body learns to stand without apology. The breath elongates without being asked. The eyes settle on the horizon instead of the exit. Guarding the gate does not require hostility. It requires gentleness with a spine. Let others speak as they will, but let your inner city be governed by words that build rather than hollow. This is how a heart becomes steady. This is how a mind becomes clear. This is how a life becomes aligned with what is true rather than what is loud. The world will continue to offer you scripts written by urgency and shame. You are allowed to decline the role. Somewhere in you, there is a sentence that has been waiting to be believed. Not grandiose, not performative, but true enough to withstand a hard day. You know it when you hear it because your body softens and your chest grows spacious. It sounds like a hand on the shoulder. It sounds like a room with open windows. Which sentence, if repeated daily, would you finally believe? There is a particular ache that appears even in capable people. The calendar stays full, the list gets shorter, the task is done, and still a hush of disbelief lingers at the edge of the room. It shows up as a careful smile that never reaches the eyes. It shows up as a laugh that ends too quickly. It shows up as an urge to shrink a little when attention arrives. This ache has a name that has been overused and yet still true: imposter. Not because you lack value, but because a part of you has not caught up to the truth of your own growth. Under that ache lives a simple equation that does not glitter, yet never fails. Confidence equals kept promises and competence. Kept promises sound modest, almost plain, which is why they work. When a person chooses a small vow and honors it, even when no one is watching, the nervous system takes note. The body reads the signal and loosens its guard. The breath expands, the jaw unclenches, the mind recalibrates its forecast from doubt to quiet possibility. This is not about grand gestures. It is about a steady pattern of oath and follow-through that teaches the inner world to trust the outer actions. Every time a promise is honored, a bit of static clears. Every time a promise is delayed without excuse, a bit of static returns. Over time, the pattern becomes a posture, and the posture becomes a presence that does not ask permission to exist. Competence is the companion of those promises. It is devotion to craft, to skill, to the details that no one else seems to notice until they do. In the writings of Solomon, there is a portrait of a person so skilled in their work that they find themselves before people of influence. Not because of politics or luck, but because excellence is magnetic and integrity opens doors that flattery only knocks. Competence is not arrogance dressed in effort. It is humility married to mastery, a willingness to learn that does not end when praise begins. It carries your name into rooms where your voice can serve rather than prove. There is a kind of ledger, that lives in the hearts of steady people. It is not flashy, it is not large. It contains a handful of tiny vows that fit inside an ordinary day, and a handful of skill rehearsals that can be counted without strain. Wake to one quiet promise you know you can keep. Move through the day with one or two rehearsals that build muscle memory rather than showmanship. Close the evening by noticing what held firm. The marks on that inner page are not for performance. They are for calibration, the way a navigator checks instruments before the sea can turn a guess into a loss. This simple ledger changes chemistry. The brain loves patterns it can predict. When your actions keep faith with your words, prediction improves and the alarm system rests. When your actions betray your words, prediction falters and the alarm system surges. That is why small vows matter more than sporadic passion. They train the body to expect alignment. They heal the fracture between what you say and what you do. They turn self-respect from an idea into a sensation you can feel in the spine and the shoulders and the pace of your walk. Hype can mimic confidence for a moment, but it cannot carry weight. The voice that tries to whip you into certainty leaves you exhausted and strangely hollow. The voice that invites you to keep faith with yourself leaves you quieter and stronger at once. Over time, the ledger speaks for you. It changes how you occupy a doorway. It changes how you listen without disappearing. It changes how you answer without defending your right to answer. Real confidence does not need costume. It needs congruence. There is grace in starting where you are. A person who has carried doubt for years does not need a performance. They need proof the body can recognize. Finish what you start when you know it is within reach today. Rehearse the part of your craft that still resists you until it becomes familiar. Track the distance between intention and action and let that distance shrink, not through willpower alone, but through simple fidelity to what you said you would do. The mind keeps score, the heart listens, the body remembers. In time, competence grows roots. You begin to notice details others miss, and you begin to love those details for their own sake. The signature you leave on your work becomes clear and kind. You stop begging for approval because craft is already telling you the truth. You stop apologizing for your presence because integrity has already made room for you. The rooms change, yes, but something else changes more deeply. You stop walking into them as a guest at the mercy of the mood and begin to walk in as a servant of the good work you carry. If doubt returns, and it will, the ledger is still there. It speaks in the language of evidence. It points to days when you were tired and kept the vow anyway. It points to skills that once felt heavy and now feel natural. It points to the quiet lift in your chest that arrives when your actions and your values are aligned. This is how imposter energy loosens its grip. Not through denial, not through bravado, but through the stubborn kindness of kept promises and the long obedience of learning. Confidence built this way does not make you louder, it makes you clear. It frees you to compliment others without subtracting from yourself. It frees you to receive correction without shattering. It frees you to stand still when attention finds you, because there is nothing to sell and nothing to fake. There is only the living record of faithfulness in small things and love for a craft that deserves your best. Which micro-promise, kept for 30 days, would change how you walk into a room. There is a weariness that comes from living inside too many voices, advice that contradicts itself, feeds that never end, opinions that land like pebbles in a jar until the sound of your own thinking is buried under constant rattle. The body keeps score when the room is this loud. A tightness settles behind the eyes. The breath shortens. Decisions feel heavier than they should. Comparison hums like a fluorescent light you cannot turn off. You are not fragile for feeling this strain. You are sensitive to input, and sensitivity is not a flaw. It is a gift that needs careful stewardship. Solomon wrote that plans succeed in the presence of many advisors and that people stumble where guidance is absent. This is not an invitation to gather a crowd. It is a call to choose a counsel. Crowds feed urgency and spectacle. Counsels cultivate clarity and steadiness. A crowd asks for performance. A counsel asks for truth. A crowd multiplies noise. A counsel refines signal. When the soul is surrounded by a wise few, the mind can land. When the soul is surrounded by everyone, the mind keeps bracing for impact. There is a simple pattern that has steadied many, a small table with 3 chairs. One belongs to an elder whose eyes have seen farther down the road and whose words carry weathered kindness. One belongs to a peer who stands shoulder to shoulder and holds you to what you said, matters without shame. One belongs to a novice you can teach, because teaching turns knowledge into bone and gives your growth a way to serve. This is counsel, not crowd. This is guidance, not pressure. This is belonging without performance. Something quiet happens when you explain what you are learning to someone just beginning. The fog clears because the mouth must make sense of what the heart only felt. The nervous system relaxes because the posture shifts from proving to serving. The lessons that felt abstract suddenly gain weight and texture. You hear yourself say what you believe, and the belief grows roots. In that moment, you are not auditioning. You are contributing, and contribution dissolves the restless hunger for constant approval. Alongside that counsel, there is a practice known by a gentle name, the mute list. Not a punishment, not a tantrum, a thoughtful pause. For a stretch of 30 days, the inputs that reliably stir doubt or spiral your attention simply go quiet. The accounts that leave you smaller in your own skin rest for a while. The conversations that drain without nourishing step into silence. The mind does not lose anything essential in this pause. It regains the ability to hear what is essential. This quiet alters the body. Without the drip of comparison, cortisol does not carry the day. Without the clash of mixed advice, the jaw loosens and the chest opens. Sleep deepens. Focus returns in longer threads. The inner room becomes audible again. You begin to notice how your thinking changes based on who gets a key to that room. You begin to trust your own read of reality rather than outsourcing it to the noisiest source. The counsel becomes a tuning fork. The crowd becomes background weather that no longer decides your route. Identity thins out when it is crowdsourced. It thickens when it sits in the company of wise voices and generous mirrors. In that company, your strengths are named without flattery. Your blind spots are addressed without humiliation. Your choices rise out of discernment rather than out of panic. This is practical spirituality meeting emotional neuroscience. The soul honors wisdom and the body calms. Because prediction improves when inputs are consistent and kind. There is a tenderness required to live this way. You can bless the crowd without giving it the pen. You can thank the noise for what it once taught and still choose the quiet that lets your life cohere. You can remain open without being porous, warm without being erased, teachable without being tossed by every wind. And as the counsel finds its rhythm and the mute list does its work, something beautiful steadies in your walk. You no longer ask strangers to tell you who you are, who truly belongs on your counsel, who belongs on mute. Perfection waits like a mirage on a hot road. The closer you think you are, the farther it moves, and your feet never actually touch the ground that matters. You gather one more detail, one more opinion, one more forecast, and the day ends with a strange kind of exhaustion that looks like work but feels like delay. Your body knows this pattern. The chest tightens when a choice appears. The jaw holds as if holding could make the unknown behave. The mind spins bright and fast while the rest of you stands very still. You are not broken for wanting more certainty. You are human, and your nervous system is trying to protect you from regret. There is an older wisdom that speaks gently into this tension. Those who keep watching the wind do not plant. Those who need guarantees do not begin. The field remains unmarked by seed. not because the seed is weak, but because the farmer cannot stop checking the sky. The soul does a version of this with decisions. It keeps looking for a perfect green light, a sign that all pain has been cleared from the road, a promise that no correction will be needed. Life does not grant that kind of insurance. Wisdom offers a different path. Move when you have enough light to see the next few steps. Not blind, not reckless. Enough. 70% becomes a humane threshold. Enough information to act with integrity. Enough clarity to name the intention. Enough humility to review and adjust. When a person moves at this level of clarity, the body receives a different signal. Adrenaline does not have to carry the whole experience. Dopamine begins to mark progress. The prefrontal regions that plan and learn get better data from reality than they do from endless simulation. Confidence is not demanded. It is fed by evidence in motion. Action at enough is not the enemy of excellence. It is the way excellence grows. Musicians do not become masters by playing only in their heads. Sailors do not learn a coastline by staring at maps. The moment the boat leaves the harbor, the senses wake. Wind on the skin, water under the keel, horizon steady then shifting, everything speaking at once. The forecast was good enough. The vessel is sound enough. The crew is competent enough. Once in motion, truth becomes tactile and adjustments become precise instead of theoretical. After every movement, there is a simple conversation that builds wisdom. What went well? What to adjust? What to stop? Not as a ritual of blame, as a way to learn while the experience is still warm. The nervous system trusts this rhythm. It knows that decisions will not be permanent prisons. It knows that accuracy will improve with each honest review. As the brain connects action with reflection, prediction becomes kinder, and the body loosens its grip on the brakes. Waiting for total clarity teaches the opposite lesson. The body learns that decisions equal danger. The mind learns that safety equals delay. Over time, this pairing becomes automatic. A door appears, and the whole system slows. Not because the door is wrong, but because the system has been trained to associate choice with threat. Moving at enough begins the work of retraining. The door appears, and the question shifts. Do I have sufficient light for the next steps? Can I carry this decision with integrity today? Am I willing to learn in public without shame? There is a quiet relief in this posture. You do not have to pretend certainty. You do not have to inflate your tone to hide your fear. You can name the unknowns and still place your weight on the choice that aligns with your values. The dignity of this path is felt in the shoulders and the breath. It is steady rather than loud. It is humble rather than brittle. It is courageous not because it never trembles, but because it keeps moving while the tremble softens. Spirituality becomes practical here. Trust is not an idea floating above the day. Trust is the willingness to plant while the wind still moves. Trust is the quiet agreement to learn from what happens next. Trust is the courage to let the field teach you what the sky could not. The body participates in this trust. The longer exhale calms the guard at the gate. The grounded posture brings the wandering mind back to the present task. The face softens because there is nothing to sell and nothing to hide. Only a choice, and then another, and then a review that keeps the soul honest. Some people here move at enough and worry that standards will fall. The opposite is true. Standards finally have a chance to live in the real world. When the bow meets water, skill becomes more than theory. When the first line is written, craft has somewhere to grow. When the conversation begins, relationship gains a path to repair. The work is no longer trapped in the museum of what if. It walks under weather and learns a kind of beauty that only weather can teach. If you listen closely, you may notice that your deepest fear is not actually about failure. It is about exposure. You want to be seen, and you want to be safe, and your history has made these two desires feel like enemies. Moving it enough reconciles them a little. You are seen, yes, but you are not alone, because review and adjustment travel with you. You are safe. Not because nothing can go wrong, but because growth is honored more than performance. This is how a person begins to carry their life with both courage and tenderness. Consider the decision you have been circling. Notice how your body reacts when you imagine carrying it with enough light rather than with guarantees. Notice the muscles that release when you realize you are allowed to review, to adjust, to stop when new truth arrives. Not all at once, not forever. Enough to begin today. What decision are you avoiding that a 70% threshold would free today? There is a delicate ache in people who carry light but fear its glare. A part of you wants to stand where your work can serve. Another part remembers the edge of pride and worries you will be mistaken for what you are not. So you practice invisibility and call it wisdom. You keep your gifts quiet and call it maturity. Yet secrecy breeds a different kind of pride, the kind that refuses to risk being seen. The soul tires from hiding and the body learns to fold. Shoulders draw inward, voice thins, eyes search for exits instead of horizons. True humility is not the art of shrinking. It is the courage to be accurate about what you are carrying, accurate about what you are still learning, accurate about the impact of your presence in a room. Spiritual wisdom speaks of honor that follows humility and of praise that is most trustworthy when it comes from another mouth. This is a posture, not a performance. The heart bows first. The work speaks next. The crown never rests on a head that needs to be taller than everyone else. It rests on a head steady enough to carry weight without wobbling. Boldness is not loudness. Boldness is clarity. It is the simple insistence on being present where you can do good without apologizing for existing. It is the quiet willingness to be counted, to let your name be attached to your craft, to allow your face to be associated with your fidelity. The nervous system reads this clarity like sunlight. Breath deepens, spine lengthens. A grounded stillness replaces the manic rush of proving. When boldness is married to humility, presence becomes generous rather than hungry. Teachability protects that marriage. The person who can be corrected does not have to fear being seen, because exposure is no longer a threat to worth. Correction becomes nourishment rather than humiliation. In this soil, growth accelerates. The mind learns faster because feedback is not filtered through shame. The body stays open because the alarm system is not bracing for judgment. Wisdom enters because the guard at the gate trusts the voice at the door. There is beauty in making promises where others can witness them, and in seeking course corrections where privacy protects dignity. Public commitment steadies identity because the outer world mirrors the inner vow. Private correction preserves tenderness because love can be exact without spectacle. Together they build a rhythm that teaches your nervous system to associate visibility with safety and learning with respect. You walk into rooms less as a performance and more as a steward, with sleeves quietly rolled. Consider the difference between spotlight and lantern. A spotlight demands attention and blinds the eyes that look too long. A lantern lights the work and warms the circle without stealing the scene. Humble boldness moves like a lantern. It illuminates what matters. It invites contribution. It leaves space for others without erasing itself. When you carry a lantern, people remember the light and the way it made them brave. They also remember that you did not need to stand on the table to offer it. Honor arrives in its own time when humility has cleared a path. It looks like trust you did not have to beg for. It looks like rooms that open because people recognize steadiness. It looks like a name spoken with quiet respect rather than loud hype. And when the honor comes, teachability keeps your hands open. You can receive gratitude without clutching. You can hear critique without collapsing. You can keep growing because growth has become a form of worship rather than a contest. This is practical spirituality and tender neuroscience at work. The soul yields first, confessing limits and naming gifts with equal ease. The body follows, finding a middle place between shrinking and swagger. Breath tells the truth of this middle place. It is unhurried. It is full. It is ready to work. From here, decisions no longer chase applause, and silence no longer hides fear. From here, your presence becomes a stable signal in a noisy world. If pride knocks, you will feel the old heat rise in the face and the voice tilt a little higher. If shame knocks, You will feel the impulse to pull back into the old smallness. Let both knocks pass without opening the door. The counsel you chose earlier knows your measure and will hold the mirror steady when either extreme tries to claim the room. Your ledger of kept promises will remind you who you are when praise is loud or absent. Your spirit will remember that honor has never been the goal, only the byproduct of a life aligned. Humble boldness does not have to announce itself. It is felt in the way you greet the task, in the way you receive the lesson, in the way you leave a room stronger than you found it. The scales in your inner court balance weight and grace. The crown rests lightly because it was never used to make you taller. It was given to help you carry responsibility with mercy. Where do you need to be seen and where do you need to be corrected? Imagine an inner city at dawn, pale light on stone, quiet streets waiting for movement. At the eastern gate stands the guard who learned to protect you when storms were common. In the square, a leather-bound ledger rests open, its pages still warm from recent promises. Down the road, 3 chairs are set beneath a fig tree where counsel gathers without hurry. Beyond the walls, the harbor hums, sails breathing as they lift. In the courtyard, a crown rests beside balanced scales, not as a trophy, but as a reminder that honor sits best on a steady head. All of our work meets here. The guarded heart, the kept promises, the chosen counsel, the courage to move with enough light, the posture that is bold and teachable. Tonight, the city asks for a covenant you can feel in your breath and in your bones. The first day belongs to language. A gentle fast begins, and the insults go quiet like a market closing at dusk. In the stillness, a single sentence steps forward and takes your hand. It is honest, it is kind, it does not flatter, it does not punish. It speaks like a friend who knows the weather of your story and still believes the sun will rise. By night, the body already notices the difference. The guard at the gate has fewer alarms to chase. The second day belongs to fidelity. The small ledger receives a handful of vows that fit inside an ordinary life, and a handful of skill rehearsals that grow hands and memory. The page does not judge, it remembers. The spine sits a little taller, because congruence is medicine the body can taste. By evening, the mind finds evidence that it can trust your word. The third day belongs to counsel. An elder who has walked farther brings weathered kindness. A peer who knows your current road brings accountability without shame. A novice who is just beginning receives what you have learned and quietly multiplies it. Teaching clarifies truth. Shared wisdom cools the heat of isolation. The room inside you grows larger because you are no longer carrying identity alone. The fourth day belongs to enough. A decision that has circled for too long meets daylight. Not reckless, not frozen. Enough. Action sends fresh data to the parts of you that have been overthinking for safety. A simple review follows once the dust settles. What worked? What needs shaping? What can end? The nervous system learns that movement does not equal danger and that learning in public can be tender rather than harsh. The fifth day belongs to visibility and correction. A meaningful vow lives where it can be witnessed without theatrics, and a time of private refinement honors your dignity. The body pairs, being seen with safety, and pairs learning with respect. Pride loses oxygen. Shame loses volume. Presence becomes clear rather than loud. The sixth day belongs to harvest and adjustment. Ledger pages reveal patterns. Counsel offers a mirror. The gatekeeper notices which messages still slip through and which ones now stay outside the walls. The sailor checks the rigging, not to worry, but to love the craft. The scales balance weight and warmth. The crown rests lightly because it is serving, not compensating. The seventh day belongs to quiet audit. No performance, no defense. A walk through the city at twilight, the gate, the ledger, the council, the harbor, the court. You listen for the faintest changes, speech a shade kinder, action a shade truer, decisions a shade swifter, presence a shade more generous. You stand in the square as lamps begin to glow, and you sense that confidence has become less about noise and more about alignment. Now hear the parable that threads these days into one story. There was once a city whose walls were sound, but whose people lived nervously because rumors slipped through the gate each morning and poisoned the wells by night. One winter, a quiet keeper rose before sunrise and waited at the gate with a small book and a small flame. Each messenger who came with fear was asked to wait in the outer field. Each messenger who came with truth was welcomed to the fire and given a line to inscribe in the book. As the pages filled with faithful lines, the city remembered its purpose. The council returned to the chairs under the tree. The ships began to leave the harbor with enough light to see the first markers. The scales in the inner court held steady when praise was loud and when silence was louder. And when spring finally entered the streets, the crown was placed not on the tallest head, but on the most teachable one, because that head could carry the weight without bending. Hold this picture a breath longer. The keeper at the gate listening with compassion. The ledger that proves you to yourself, the small table where wisdom sits shoulder to shoulder with love, the sails catching just enough wind to begin, the scales and the crown reminding the heart that humility and honor are not enemies. This is what a confidence covenant feels like when it becomes real, not a show, not a pose, a way of being that your body can trust and your spirit can bless. What changed in your speech and in your actions and in your counsel and in your decisions and in your humility across these 7 days? You began with a question that touched the tender places of your courage, and now you stand where the road widens. The city inside you is quieter. The guard at the gate is kinder and more awake. The ledger holds lines that mean something to your body, not just your mind. The small council has taken their seats, and the room no longer vibrates with the demand to perform. The harbor is no longer a picture in your head, but a wind you can feel on your face. The scales in the inner court are steady, and the crown rests lightly because it is serving a purpose larger than itself. Confidence has stopped pretending to be a costume. It has become the sound of your footsteps in the morning and the way your breath settles when attention arrives. It has become the courage to speak without inflating, to listen without disappearing, to choose without punishing yourself for not knowing everything. It has become a covenant, and covenants endure because they are kept in ordinary moments. This is how wisdom moves through a life: quiet, faithful, patient, strong. If you ever forget, return to sensation before narration. Notice the way your shoulders rise when an old voice enters, and let the breath remind them of the new season. Notice the way your spine lengthens when your words match your values, and let that posture be evidence. Notice the way your chest softens when counsel is near, and let that softness be strength. Practical spirituality and tender neuroscience walk together here, steadying the heart so the mind can see clearly and the body can carry that clarity with grace. There will be days when the wind is loud again. You will meet old scripts that want their room back. You will feel the pull to ask strangers to name you. On those days, the covenant will still be within reach, a single sentence at the gate, a few faithful lines in the ledger, a conversation at the small table, a choice made with enough light, a correction received without collapse. These are not dramatic acts. They are the simple geometry of a life that trusts itself to grow. You are not waiting to become someone else. You are returning to who you are when fear is not writing the lines. Let that truth move through your voice, your walk, your work, your rest. Let it be felt rather than announced. Let it make you generous. Let it make you clear. And as your days gather into a story, let honor follow humility the way morning follows night, quiet and certain and warm on the stones of your inner city. Which covenant will you keep this week?